think the bottom line is, when I think about the economy, I think it's time for congressional Republicans to start thinking about a tax cut for working people. I'm all for renewing the president's tax cuts. We've got to do that. But I think we probably need additionally to do something that's going to actually cut taxes, put money back into the hands of hardworking Americans. I think they need it.
Okay, that's Senator Josh Hawley, if you can believe it. Trying to brand himself as one of the few Republicans actually fighting for working class Americans. He published an op-ed calling on Republicans to, as he describes it, get back to their roots, give the working class historic tax cuts. We're gonna get to what Hawley wrote, more details in just a moment, but Jen, what do you think about this side of Hawley? Can we trust it? Is it authentic? Can't be in his mind, but this is not the Josh Hawley that I'm used to or we're used to.
Yeah, so normally what Republicans do is they say, oh, we want to do these tax cuts for small businesses. And then the tax cuts that actually pass are for giant corporations. So that's just total propaganda. They don't mean a word of it. And don't get me wrong, Hawley's still in favor of that. You heard him in that clip saying, I mean, we got to renew the Trump tax cuts, the ones that were enormous for corporations, enormous for donor class, for the elites, et cetera, and the richest people in the world, okay? So, but he's adding in a layer of tax cuts that would actually be for the average guy. That's why this is shocking. So, is it genuine? I think it partly is genuine, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. There's a really good reason why, but let's give you the rest of the story and then we'll talk about that.
Okay, let's get to this new op-ed Hawley penned for the Washington Post this morning. Here's what he wrote. Time was Republicans knew how to do tax cuts. Reagan-era columnist Robert Novak once quipped, God put the Republican Party on earth to cut taxes. But Republicans in Washington these days could use a refresher course. The negotiations over President Donald Trump's big, beautiful budget bill have to date included surprisingly little talk of tax cuts for the people who need them most, America's working class. These are the people who make less than $80,000 per year. These are the people who delivered an electoral victory for Trump. And these are the Americans Washington policy types have largely forgotten for a generation. Republicans should remember them now and deliver for them the largest tax cut in our lifetime. Now, Hawley argues Republicans should make the largest income tax credits available to any American who pays the payroll tax. These tax credits include home mortgage deduction, child tax credit, and the charitable deduction. Hawley added this, these popular tax credits provide billions in tax relief every year, but as it stands, you have to earn a considerable amount of money and pay a considerable amount of income tax before these credits become fully available. Yet 2/3 of Americans pay more in payroll taxes than they do in income taxes. And most working class Americans pay little or no income tax at all. If you're unfamiliar with what the payroll tax is, it is the percentage that comes out of your paycheck. It's that large number each cycle to finance things like Social Security and Medicare. In the United States, the largest payroll taxes are a 12.4% tax to fund Social Security and a 2.9% tax to fund Medicare, for a combined rate of 15.3%. Half of payroll taxes, 7.65%, are remitted directly to employers, with the other half withheld from employees' paychecks. Now, this amounts to $1 trillion. $1 trillion the government takes of this tax each year, according to Hawley. So there's more from the senator, the op-ed. For working people, the bottom line is despite the chunk taken out of your paycheck every few weeks, you don't qualify for the generous tax relief upper income earners receive. Republicans should fix this now. Make the home mortgage interest deduction, the child tax credit, the charitable deduction available against the payroll tax. And Hawley includes a few examples of how this could help his own constituents in Missouri, including a pastor in a small town in Missouri with 6 children. He states under his proposal, on his annual salary of $80,000, he would save $6,500 plus a year. Real money. Allow Americans earning a wage and paying the payroll tax to claim these credits to offset their tax liability. Every working family could use the money, and they deserve it. They earned it, after all. I guess what I'm wondering here, it sounds good, I think. Who's his audience, though, Cenk? Is he doing this for some future to stand out in a Republican field politically? Is he doing this to convince fellow Republicans who won't listen to him privately? Who do you think his audience is?
Yeah, I think that he senses that the country is going towards populism, and this is his effort to go towards populism. And so I think he's going to run for president, and he thinks the lane is the one that Trump created. Now, the difference between Hawley and Trump is twofold. Number one, Hawley is actually a somewhat real populist, as opposed to Donald Trump, who's a completely fake populist. So why do I say Hawley's a real populist? Or at least partially a real populist. So number one, he stopped taking corporate PAC money. And once you stop taking corporate PAC money, you've seen me tell you this, and now you're seeing the results, right? I told you ahead of time, once they stop taking it, they get more and more honest and start serving more and more voters. Because when you take corporate PAC money, you're incentivized, literally to the tune of millions and tens of millions of dollars, to serve those corporate donors. Now he's not getting any money from corporate donors, so he doesn't have to serve them anymore. So then as a politician, what conclusion do you logically draw if you're not worried about the donor money anymore? Oh, right, the voters, I should worry about the voters. Because you were supposed to get the donor money to be able to convince the voters to vote for you. But now when you don't have to worry about that, you just focus on it. So when he focused on the voters, he realizes, wait a minute, most of the voters aren't getting anything from this tax cut, Trump's tax cut. And yeah, that's an old Republican trick. Josh Hawley's smart. It's not like he didn't know they were doing that earlier. And it's not like he didn't sign up for that. He did sign up for it and he's still supporting it, right? But at the same time, he realizes later, people are gonna realize that we screwed them. So now these tax cuts that he's proposing have no chance of passing. Why? Because they're actually good. Actually, I would have a issue with the payroll one. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. But the child tax credit and some of the others that he's proposing are good, actual tax cuts that goes to average American instead of the corporations, etc. And he's a Republican senator. And I don't mind saying that because I don't give a damn who does the right thing. I don't care what label they attach to themselves, right? So if Josh Hawley becomes the most genuine populist in the Senate, great. Then I'll support that things that he says in that direction, right? So I know a lot of other people are tribalists, so they won't ever do it. Even if he proposes bills that they love, they'll say no, just because he's proposing it, he has the wrong letter on his helmet, I'm opposed to him. I'm not in that camp. But in doing so, what he's doing is he's admitting what we've been saying all along, which is, yeah, these giant tax cuts are all for the rich. They're not gonna help you at all, okay? I'm proposing tax cuts that would help you. I know they're not gonna pass, but later when I'm running for president, I'll say, hey, remember, I'm the one guy on the Republican side that actually proposed tax cuts that would help you and that didn't, unlike the other tax cuts, didn't rob you blind, right? So that's why he's positioning himself that way. And the fact that he's untethered from the corporate donors allows him to do that. And so I think it's a very smart play and I think it makes sense. So the caveat that I added is, I wouldn't cut payroll taxes because if you do that, you're undermining the money that Social Security and Medicare are collecting. And if you do that, at some point, they're gonna then try to topple Social Security and Medicare and say, oh golly gee, we didn't have enough money for it. So now you guys are all back on the streets and on your own, etc. And I don't want any piece of that.
It's interesting, just looking at the numbers, I just was looking at Hawley and the contributions and yeah, it's stunning and a calculated move, but perhaps this is genuine for him. But as you said though, no chance of passing, so we'll see.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.